Awaken to your truth that you are the I Am presence in harmony with the divine. You are consciousness beyond what the body and mind identify. This is Moment to Moment. Host Lynda Hope will remind and enlighten you to know your divine nature. You were born into the body already aware, but forgot it as you expanded your sense of identity, ego mind, pattern behaviors, and habits. Stop sleepwalking and wake up to your timeless, eternal, formless self. Now, your host of Moment to Moment, Lynda Hope.
Welcome. Namaste to all of you tuning in. Hopefully this show will bring you some peace and stillness in your hectic world. And I'm here to provide some tools from New Mexico. I am here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, one of my, I love this place. Over 300 days of sun, if you can relate to that. Yes, coming from Chicago, where it's going days and days and weeks without sun, this is a blessing. And yet, every moment is a blessing. Every opportunity to realize who you really are in this world is a blessing. And so I'm here just to have a conversation with yourself, with me, with the I that is the I Am presence of all of us, because that is what unifies us as one in a world that seems extremely crazy and chaotic, with a lot of opinions, a lot of egos out there. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that. And our ego mind can carry us away very quickly into a place of noise, chaos, commotion, far from the stillness that is who you really are. And when you realize that within yourself, that you are not just this form identity with a pattern behavior that's habituated, you can actually free yourself, because you are then able to be the witness of it and not attach yourself to it and say, that's who I am. And so the tools that I'll offer you today in this show, Moment to Moment, brings you into that moment to moment experience, into the present moment, into the now, because that's where your being resides, in the now. And as I have experienced coming to New Mexico so many times, just imagine yourself on vacation, right? The freshness of it, the newness of it, the colors and the decorations and the culture is so rich. And you are so much in that experience of that moment of wow, right? That, it's new, it's fresh, it's alive. And I use that as a metaphor because that's what every moment can be for you, as the presence, as presence itself, and not wanting it to be any different. So the breath work that I'll share with you and the meditation chants of today's show is all about centering, becoming alert, aware, to feed into the breath, into the knowing of this body as a vehicle, as a vessel for the essence of who you really are, the real essence of identity that you are. As Eckhart would say, the essence is really your identity. It's not the form person. And I'll be referencing Eckhart Tolle quite a bit, as well as Mooji, because they're awakened. They are very much in tune with the body and what the mind can do potentially to sabotage you. And so the breath work will share with you is bringing your mind activity, quieting it into the body, into the heart space, so that you can fully appreciate this moment and appreciate the breath that comes through this body in the moment. Because what do we do with our breath? Most of the time we don't realize we're breathing until we can't, right? So we breathe deeply in and out, and we feel the aliveness in the body. You can do that with me now. And you can close your eyes or you can keep it open. So we take in a deep breath through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. And we do that one more time, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now, some of the breath work that we do, we call it mindfulness breathing. As a mindfulness instructor, there's many different ways that I've shown people in how to focus their awareness into the body and into that space of stillness through breath. One of them I really appreciate is the 4-7-8 breathing. And this is my favorite because not only does it focus our attention on the breathing, but it actually helps the nervous system. If you look up 4-7-8 breathing, you'll see that the relaxation that happens in the body as you breathe into 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8, you're exhaling twice as long as you are inhaling. And if you do that consecutively 3 times, it actually does. You'll notice a huge relaxation that occurs in the body, reduces stress. You do this anytime you feel stressed at all. You want to take a breath, a conscious breath. This has so many benefits. So let's do this together now. And this could be a daily practice for you. Maybe when you first wake up, maybe throughout the day, again, when you need that calming influence, and at night before you go to bed. I know many people have found it so beneficial before they go to bed. All right, so again, we take in a breath through the nose for 4, we hold it for 7 counts, and we exhale through the mouth all the way out on the count of 8. Okay, let's do that right now. Take in 4, hold for 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do that 2 more times. Take it in 4, hold 7, exhale 8, do it one more on your own. Inhale 4, hold 7, and exhale 8. Now, how do you feel in this moment? More of a calmness in your body. Maybe your shoulders are relaxed now, they weren't before. Maybe the thoughts are less scattered, or maybe you don't even have any thoughts. Wouldn't that be nice? I bet when you were doing the 4-7-8 breathing, you didn't have many thoughts, did you? Because you were focused away from your thoughts. You were focused in a intentional breathing exercise. Yes. So we can always, by breathing our intention, right? Bringing our intention into our heart space through breath, we tune out those thoughts, and those thoughts are the background. Now, there's another beautiful breathing exercise I can do with you now also, where we notice the space between the breaths. And those spaces between the breaths are just as important, if not more important, as the breaths themselves. Because there you notice a profound stillness, a quietness that is you, is really the place of the beingness of you. So let's take a breath in and hold it in, and then before we exhale, we notice a space. There's a space that you're not breathing in or breathing out. It just is. And you can keep that awareness in that emptiness, as we would say, that empty space, for as long as you want. You can keep that knowing that there is an aliveness here in that space before you exhale back out. And then when you exhale back out, all the way out to empty, 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 again, before you take that in breath, there is again that opportunity to notice that space, that empty space. So let's just do that and see how you feel into that. Allow yourself to just enjoy the ride, enjoy the process. Okay, so breathe in deeply and hold it. And now, space. It's just space. And now let it go out with the breath. And there's space again. And then inhale again. And there's another opportunity to experience that space again. And exhale out. Put your hand on your heart. And in this empty sense of knowing that this is the emptiness here, be here now with this. There's nothing else to do right now but just being here, listening to my voice. Whatever else arises in your perception or your thoughts or your emotions, they're just that. That's all. But you are here now, empty. And yes, everything is arising in this empty space. Because you are the essence of that. You are consciousness. And so as consciousness, you witness even the empty space, even the witness of this knowing this space and this quietness that you're experiencing and the joy that comes from this space. You're also not attached to it. So if something arises, you can see that. You can see your thoughts arise. They're also going to go away very quickly because that's what thoughts do. They come and they go, right? And you can also feel an emotion. Maybe you feel this sense of peace. And you also know that that sense of peace can also go and come. But you are the consciousness of it. You know, some people say, well, can you ultimately, as presence, be in a consistent state of bliss or joy or happiness, whatever, And based on my experience of this journey of being present, I've seen all of that, the extreme bliss of it, where everyone is one and all is, that's all you see is the oneness of all. But then you can also see when that changes into more of a place of contentment and stillness. And that's beautiful too. It's the ability to know that you are not just your personal identity, really, that constantly fluctuates. Here, in the place of peace and quiet and stillness, there is something deeper. There's a deeper dimension that you know yourself to be, that there's no words to it. It's a conceptual place. It's a state of knowing that and that's all there is. And it's the isness of it. Very Buddhist, right? The isness of it. So when things arise in it, no matter what it is okay. It's all okay. So when I came to New Mexico talking about breath, I came and I had to catch my breath. Now I have a froggy throat. I have to catch my breath. I have a froggy throat, whatever it is in this moment is okay. So in that knowing I had to catch my breath, I had bought an oxygen can and used that several times until I felt I could breathe better. But that was the noticing and awareness of that. If I didn't have awareness to that, I might have passed out. I might have gotten altitude sickness, and I had done that before, where I didn't notice it as I should have in this body, and I got sick. And that's what paying attention also means, in that you have this body that is telling you things, and you need to listen. You need to pay attention to it. But what happens? Many times we get caught in our thought projections. We get caught in some kind of story in our head and get pulled away from what is really important in the moment. And that becomes unfortunately, our habituated self, our identity. So how can we fully be present now is to be really in awareness. And what is our breath telling us? We need to take some oxygen. Well, maybe we do. Maybe we need sleep. Maybe, on vacation, sometimes we need a vacation after a vacation. And we tend to wear ourselves out because we want to run around doing things like a chicken with their head cut off. In New Mexico, there's so much to do, so many galleries to see, and so many activities to participate in that, you can have a lot of fun doing all these wonderful things. And there are beautiful things that you really want to do. And so what? Do them. But if it comes with a price, maybe that's not what you want to be doing, right? You want to maybe live in the moment, experience it, and allow it. And whatever it is, it is. I think that's better than planning your day. I think, the expression, person plans, God laughs. You may want to go to 5 galleries in a day and blah, 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 but then you realize, no, I'm wearing myself out. I'm at a high altitude. I better just slow down. And then you realize, again, I go back to my breath, and I can just enjoy this moment from whatever happens in the day and just live from there. Isn't that amazing if you can do that? Because it's effortless. And yes, you're going to do whatever you're going to be doing because it's going to call to you. You're going to have that thought, your inspiration. Let me go there. Let me look that up. Or all of a sudden something that comes across your desk, or maybe you're having your breakfast and all of a sudden somebody you hear on the other table mentions, hey, go to this gallery or blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden there you are. But if you plan everything out, there's no room for any surprises. And I'm sure some of you have realized when you've overbooked yourself on vacation that it's not such a happy time. You're rushing back and forth trying to figure out what to do, and you end up doing nothing. So, everything has its place in time. But then again, when we talk about time, we are really outside of time. As a person, we're very much in time. Get up at 9 o'clock, let's get going, blah, 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 blah. Let's finish all our schedule. Got to get home, make dinner. But in the presence of who you are, there's no time. And yet things do get done. And they're a lot easier and they flow much more synchronistically than if you did it the other way. The ego somehow gets in our way. And we can all know what that looks like. When we come from the place of the ego, it gets a little bit distorted and a little bit overblown and difficult, because we get it all into our story, into our head about it. Instead of allowing whatever it is to be experienced, we make up a story about it, and then we're really regretting what we just experienced. Oh, it's a beautiful day. We got to get out. Oh no, it's starting to rain. Oh, I better not go out. Oh, let's do something else. Instead of allowing the rain to be okay, we're okay in the rain. Go do what you were going to do. Your head makes it into a problem. Your mind starts causing all kinds of havoc. And so again, by bringing yourself back into your breath and just allowing yourself to feel in the moment, you will feel a sense of freedom in the next expression, and then the next expression that comes across that moment because this is all you have, right? This moment, this present moment is it. So when you project into the future, you've just taken yourself out of the moment, or you've regretted the past and are thinking about what you could have, should have done. You're not present, and you're not fully engaged in your conversation with your friends, or even looking at a beautiful art piece, or going to a gallery and saying, wow, how beautiful that is, and then getting very bored quickly because you all of a sudden decided that this wasn't exactly what you expected. You really want to go to the other gallery down the street because that's even better. I mean, you could be in the most gorgeous place. You could be in Hawaii, and you can still talk yourself out of the most beautiful experience you'll have ever had in your life, because your mind wants something better than that. Oh, wait a second. That sunrise looks better over there. Last night, it was better over there than it was here. That's how crazy we can get at experiencing our joy, experiencing things. We go crazy, anticipating, what's the next shiny object, right? So being present and enjoying it fully right now. Wow. And you can be in Chicago on a very dingy day and still feel a sense of light within yourself and joy within yourself that brings on the light of that moment, even though the sun doesn't shine through those clouds. That's how beautiful this state of presence is, beyond the mind experiences. So I'm going to continue on with some exercises, again, to bring you into this place of stillness. We can talk about it all we want, but when you actually experience it for yourself, and you know what it is, and the knowing within yourself, it's something that you will never forget. And you can recreate this. I don't know if you really recreate anything, but it's a sense of knowing it and being able to access it easily throughout your day. And it becomes more of, this is who I am. The I am presence becomes a reality for you. So with that in mind, let's focus on the mantra, I am. Meditation is another vehicle. Besides breath work, meditation helps us center ourselves, the stillness that is felt in meditation. And again, we can also look at meditation as who we really are anyway. We're a walking meditation. Because meditation, the purpose of meditation is to bring us into a place of the I am presence. And if you already are that in your day, then you are really meditating throughout your whole day, in a way. So let's talk about I am, the I. The I. What do we use I for a lot? We use I typically in the day, talking about us as people. I am Lynda Hope. I am bringing you this show moment to moment. I am a woman. We can talk about the superficial I in Lynda, and that's all it is, really. It is a superficial identity that took many years to get here. I could say I'm X amount of years old. I could say I have this color hair, blue, green eyes. Say I have 2 children, and that is okay. But again, that's your form. That's the human of your human being, right? Now, as a human, and now as a being, I am not identified with that. The I am is the spaciousness, the presence, if you say also the consciousness that existed, that always exists, that is eternal before the form even was created. And this presence was never created and is never lost. And the eternalness of this is your essence of your identity, the divine oneness that we all carry in us. And so the I am, if I'm going to chant I am for you right now, and as it brings your awareness back into the state of presence, you can feel that through the vibration of the words, through the vibration of the sound of the music. You can feel that vibration. And again, if you want to focus more into your body, you can close your eyes. And so the words I am, through music, through just sound of the words, allow yourself to deepen into the I am, that I am presence. I am. 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 The I am. Again, these conceptual words don't really do it justice. The place of where we really are in this existence is beyond words. But when we see I am as just the stillness, is just the space. We even have that reference in the Bible when God spoke to Moses. Moses asked God, "Who do I call you to the people of Israel?" And God said, "I am that I am." That's the most profound thing that God said to Moses, because God, though, is also a concept, right? We could also say universe, source energy, the isness of it, the knowing of it as eternal and consciousness of all, is really, when we meditate, when we are in that I am presence, we are in the oneness of source. We are as source. And there's no separation because it never occurred. The only reason it occurred was in our mind, in our ego, that separated us out. And when you realize that within yourself, there is that knowing that you are of God and of universe and of source and of the oneness that exists, that holds us all together. How amazing is that? How freeing is that? Freed from the psychological mind of the body, that the identity that limits you in so many ways. And if you want to just believe yourself to be that, okay, that's your journey right now. If you believe yourself to be a spiritual being having a human experience, that's also another sort of an identity in a way. Sometimes we believe ourselves to be spiritual people. That's an identity, right? And we can be all kinds of things in form. It's a beautiful thing to be able to experience through this form so many things. But then at some point, you say, well, all I want to know is who I really am. Because many of us get lost in this chaotic world. We're sort of lost in the drama of it. We're lost in the news. We're lost in the problems of the epidemic that we had. We're lost in the looking at so many thought patterns in our mind that we get confused. And we start projecting all kinds of things into the future. And we know that the future is really just an illusion. But we tend to believe that there's a future. We forget there's just this present moment. That's all there is. And we make up all these stories about what we want to do in the future. And then we wait for it. And we wait till we grow up and we can get a better house and a better car and a, good insurance policy. And we all need all that, I guess, to live in this form and to live in a house and eat food and do our job. But that's not all who we are. That's not the essence of it. Because once this body is gone and dies, that's it. The body's gone. But the essence of the I am presence never dies. You are eternal. And you are knowing that now, in this body form now, is actually heaven on earth, if you want to put it to a description of some sort. The expansiveness of who you really are is felt now. You don't have to wait to die and lose this body to know that. And you also get off the karmic wheel when you realize the I am presence of who you are. You are not going to come back lifetime after lifetime after lifetime trying to realize a deeper sense of who you are. You are already realized. And that's also a good thing in a way. If you're ready for that, if you really want to experience it, you've got an opportunity to do that. And if not, you want to go through more ups and downs of life and challenges, because that's where we learn our best lessons. Many challenges that Lynda faced, many, many years, decades, has brought her here to this place of knowing her presence. And I wouldn't have traded any of those experiences in for anything, because Lynda had to experience it. And we continue to evolve through every relationship that we have, all the good ones and all the bad ones. And yet there are no good or bad, because they're all important for our development. In fact, our best teachers are the ones that have caused us the most, supposedly the most challenges in our life, the most heartache, we can say. And when we really see our emotions, our triggers getting pushed, our buttons being pushed, those are the people that are in our lives for that reason, to show us, hey, we're still very much attached to our ego and our projections and who we think we are as people, and right and wrong. And yeah. And when we step back and look at it, it's all so silly. It's all so silly. Look at all the problems of the world we're facing. This is the most amazing time in our history. It is the most amazing time, because we can see so many viewpoints and so many people with, genders, all different gender identities now, and people fighting for them to be talked to in a certain way. They have to say we, they, this, whatever. And all of us are claiming our identity strongly. I'm right wing, I'm left, I'm a rightist, I'm this religion, I'm this or that, and you're so strongly opinionated in it that if somebody challenges you, you're not happy. Instead of stepping back, looking at everybody else in their own beautiful, unique way, and valuing everybody in that expression, and knowing that everyone is at exactly the place they're supposed to be in their development and their presence of their evolution of transcendence. We're all looking for that beautiful place of peace and happiness within ourselves. The love that comes from here and emulates, emits that beautiful energy all over the world, can be felt in this moment. You can feel it and you can send it. You have that ability to do that. And it's just a place of stillness where that is, where it all evolves from. So I'm looking at the time. We're going to give a moment to our sponsors and we're going to thank them. So stay tuned and I'll be right back with some more beautiful tools to help you be more present in this moment. I'm Lynda Hope.
Certified psychic medium Stephanie Lynn creates an authentic connection between the living and the spirit world. Stephanie knows she is here to help heal, educate, and provide validation that there is more after death, and allows herself to be a conduit and work as a team with spirit to pass on messages from their world to ours. Stephanie Lynn also works as a spiritual life coach to help you achieve, create, and manifest your best self and life. Looking for help communicating with an animal? Searching for a past life regression therapist? Or dealing with a paranormal experience? Stephanie Lynn is here to help. For a list of full services, visit her on Facebook under Stephanie Lynn Spirit Sensitive. That's Stephanie Lynn Spirit Sensitive.
Welcome back. Thank you for still being here now with me. And this is a journey. We absolutely are on this most fabulous journey of evolving into a place that when we started out didn't know existed. It's like looking at the most obvious thing, our breath, for instance. We take it for granted, right? We think we're breathing, but we're being breathed. But do we really notice that? Because if we were to stop breathing, how would we stop breathing? Well, we could hold our breath, and then eventually we have to let it out. It's sort of like our blood is pumping through our body, but do we really pay any attention to that? Do we really pay attention to what is very, very important in our lives? That state of stillness. The stillness, and sometimes the word stillness doesn't quite do it. Where do we go for stillness? I think we all want to go on vacation so we can get quiet, don't we? Just sit around the pool and relax. Oh, yeah. And just watch or around the beautiful Hawaiian Islands. My friend's there now and experiencing the best weather and loving it loving it, loving it, loving it. And then she's going to come home. Just like everyone that comes home from vacation and says, boy, I wish I were there longer. I wish I could have experienced it. Oh, another week, or I have to move to a warmer place. That's a very common conversation. Very common. I was in Hawaii for 4 months back 2 years ago during the pandemic, height of it. And I didn't experience any of the difficulties of that at all, because I was in paradise, enjoying the sun, enjoying the wind, enjoying my friends, just being in the moment of beauty. Very easy to be in that place of beauty when you go to Hawaii. The spiritual practice is stay in Chicago during the snow and the cold and the gray weather, and still be in a place of joy and presence. That's when you know you can do it, right? And yes, it's challenging sometimes. Oh yes, I sit there saying, when is the sun coming out? And then reminding myself, the sun's always there. The sun is always there. It's just the cloud hiding it. Can you feel into the sun and know that the light is shining through, even though you don't see it with your eyes? Yeah. And be appreciative and caring that, my body is functioning well. Is there anything that's a problem right now in this cloudy day? Is there anything that, I want to be any different? Just because it's cloudy, am I going to have a terrible day? I mean, we ask ourselves these questions. Ask yourself this question. Why do I want things to be different than they are right now? Why do I always want it to be different than it is right now? Why am I not happy in this moment? Why do I find myself complaining about this or that, or wanting somebody to be different than they are, expecting myself to be different than I am? I mean, people, I think we're sort of conditioned to be ticked off all the time, not to be happy. Oh, we're not happy. No. But guess what? You can change that. That is your ego mind that's not happy. It's not you. It's not who you are. It's your ego. It's complaining and blaming and pointing fingers at somebody else for making yourself unhappy. You are making me unhappy because you said blah, blah, blah to me. Or I'm not happy because I'm in a bad climate. I have to move. Or I'll eventually be happy when I move there. And until then, I'll still be miserable. That makes so much sense, doesn't it? Just doesn't make any sense. So listen to your thoughts. Pay attention. Witness your thoughts and see how crazy they get. They do. They get crazy. And you can just witness it and don't attach to them when it's telling you all kinds of stories about you and how you can't sleep at night, and how you worry about this and you worry about that. I bet a lot of you can relate to that. A lot of us worry. And why is that? Because our mind is telling us something in that moment, and we're believing it. We're believing it, and we're identifying with it. More importantly, identifying with it. Because a belief is just a lot of thoughts that you continue to think over and over and over and over again. Like, I believe myself to be a worrier. Then you'll be a worrier. I love this expression as a mother. I'm only as happy as my most miserable child. I think that was an expression. Maybe that's wrong. I'm only as happy as my happiest child. I think that makes more sense. Well, why does that have to be? Why do you have to identify as a mother like that, who has to be happy only if your child is happy? Or I'm not a good wife if I don't have the right amount of food on the table for my husband when they come home, or blah, 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 blah. I remember my mother, she would say to me in preparation when I was younger, before I got married, always look good when your husband comes home. You can be in your nightgown the whole day, but when your husband comes home, you have to look good. And you have to be ready for them for dinner because he worked a lot. That is a very stereotypical kind of conversation that we in the 70s had to go through. I'll bring home the bacon, stir it up in a pan, and never let him forget he's a man. I think some of you can relate to that if you're my age. Again, my age. As an identity, that's right. The age that you are, the upbringing that you had, the patterning of your parents, the way that you were raised, the way that you think of yourself, you should be as a mother or as a father or as, you know, whatever you think you should be. And then you try to live up to that expectation of who you think you should be. And are you ever living up to that expectation of that you should? No, you never can, because it's called expectations. You have an expectation about somebody else. Oh, I expect my partner to be a certain way. Are you going to be disappointed when they're not? Of course you will. That's why it's called an expectation. How can you live without expectations? It's the person that has expectations. It's the ego mind that says, you're not doing enough for me. Me, poor me, I'm poor me. The ego mind is the victim. Victim, always the victim. And if you're not saying the right thing or doing the right thing or showing me that you love me, I'm not happy. And you're not going to be happy either, I guarantee you. Oh no, if I'm not happy, you're not going to be happy. And this is an easy kind of thing to understand because the ego loves that conflict. The ego is always looking for somebody to blame something on and not be fulfilled enough, because there's no way you're going to fill that ego up. It's a bottomless pit. So when you are aware and awake that this mind, ego mind, can carry you into all kinds of challenging situations and expectations and victim identity, that is when you can notice it, detach from it, and say, that is not me. That is my mind. I am not that. And I am not identity. I am a formless consciousness that exists, has always existed, and will continue to exist. And this form is born, but it will also die. Because everything in this world of form is time bound. It's time bound. How do you transcend time? By not identifying with the time, not identifying with the form. And you can be very objective about your life. You don't have to cling to anything. You don't have to, expect anything to happen, and just be surprised when it does. Isn't that great? Be surprised in the moment and see the moment created for your pleasure, for your joy, because you are life itself. And the power that comes, and it's not ego power. We're not talking about, wow, I'm actualized. Whoa, I'm special, because the ego can slip behind that kind of thinking too. You got to this place of spiritual enlightenment. I'm sure some of us have had friends like that who all of a sudden become so-called gurus and feel themselves to be special. And specialness is not the guru, it's the ego, and it's coming back into that little, slipping back into that behind the lens of perception, and all of a sudden, you're feeling pretty inflated. But then if you are conscious and aware, you can catch it and you can say, hey, no, not a good, no. I have more work to do. I have a lot more work to do. And that's what it is. It is being very conscientious. What is very important in your life today? Is it to turn on the news and say, oh, wow, which side do I want to agree on? And what battle do I want to get, what do I want to fight today in the world? And who do I want to argue with about this issue or that issue? Is that really what you want to be doing in your life? Ask yourself these really deep questions. What is important to me now, in this moment? What do I want to know more about me now in this moment? Who am I? Because if you don't know who you are, your life is chaotic, confused, and you're believing everything your mind is telling you about yourself. You're not a nice person. You shouldn't have had that thought. I should be doing this more to prove that I'm a better mother or father or whatever, or I should da 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 da. The list goes on and on and on. I should get a better job. I should have more money. I'm not this. I should have done this in the past, and I regret that. How many people regret their past? Many of us regret the past. Can you change it? Did it even exist? Was it an illusion? The only thing that really is real now is this present moment. That's all that exists, is now. And I'm sure you heard these expressions. I might have said it many times, but the past is history. The future is a mystery, but the present is a gift to yourself. You are the gift. The gift of presence is peace, is calmness, is aliveness as well. It's a deeper sense of connectiveness with all, where you look at somebody else and they are a reflection of you, that everyone is you. And some of us, yes, are more conscious of it than others, but it doesn't take away that we are that. That source energy that permeates all, that is all, and we are part of, is the real truth. And everything else is just a projection on the screen of, like a movie theater, right? You go to a movie and you see the action on the screen. There may be a Western and they're fighting at each other and they're dying on the screen. Is the screen dying? No, the screen is the screen. It's a projection. That's it. And if you identify with any of those characters, then you become those characters. That's why when we have situations where a child is playing those video games and becomes part of that video game and feels like, the person who is shooting that person or whatever, and decides, oh, well, I'm just going to go shoot somebody. They identify so closely to those characters that it turns them into something that they're not. And that's what the mind can do. Such devious things, devilish things, that unless we are in tune and awake to what the mind potential, harmful mind can do, we can be very destructive. Be awake. Know that your thoughts are just your thoughts. That's the first part of awakening, that your thoughts just come and go. They're not you. That is false. Just notice your thoughts. Don't hook onto your thoughts. That is a projection. Those are thoughts that came from pattern conditioning, that you are a conditioned person with those thoughts. Guess what? You don't have to live a conditional life anymore once you realize that those thoughts are just an illusion coming and going. You don't have to identify with them and think those thoughts and say, oh, yeah, that's who I am. And, oh, yeah, if I do it this way, then I'll be a better person, or that way, I shouldn't do it this way or that way. The mind is telling you who you think you are supposed to be. And that is false. Just watch your thoughts. They're going to come and they're going to go. Sometimes they're the most ridiculous things you've ever seen. I'll look at my thoughts and say, it's not even a complete thought. Because right now I don't really believe in my thoughts are not who I am. So they're just sort of at random, just sort of sometimes being really funny and racing fast or slowing down, or I'll watch the pace of them sometimes. I'll watch them and then I'll realize, I'm paying too much attention to my thoughts. I better get back into my heart space and just allow them to be, in the background. So, but it is all about having fun with it, not being so, lighten up. First of all, don't take things personally. That's, again, the identity. Somebody says something to you, blow it up, be fun with it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy yourself. Have fun with whatever it is. And just, Yeah, just don't take things personally. That's a big thing. And when you do, all right, maybe learn from it, because that's what it's about. This world is about learning, growing, maturing into a state of a higher mind or deeper consciousness, whatever you want to say. And know that everything is a play here. Enjoy the play. Be a benefit in this world. And when you are in the place of presence, you can fully be a benefit to the world, because people in your presence will feel all of a sudden a calmness come over them, a place of centeredness, maybe even peace. And they'll wonder, wow, I got to hang out with this person longer because I'm feeling really good right now. When you feel that sense of peace and stillness within yourself, maybe through your breath, again, use your breath to center yourself, get your mind into your heart, chant your mantra, I am mantra. Try that throughout your day and find that space between your breath, between your thoughts too, right? Even when you're listening to music, maybe there's a space between the notes. There's a space between my words right now. The space is more important than the words. So slow down. Slow down. Sometimes even your movements, when you slow down your movements, instead of rushing across a room, slow down and be mindful of every step and that space between the next step. And may those spaces between bring you more into the connectiveness of who you are in this moment. And may you find that aliveness and joy every moment as you breathe, as you appreciate, and as you firmly understand the essence of who you really are. So I hope you tune in next week, Moment to Moment. I'm Lynda Hope, and may each moment bring you joy and peace. And may you share that with everyone that you meet. Namaste.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.